YouTube and Google, I think, have to be replaced. One thing I don't like about YouTube, the Google searches now, and I think GTS might be a replacement, is I'm getting Reddit and I'm getting scam sites that I don't trust. I like GTS, chat GTS. I like academies and universities online. I know what I want now. So I see social media as a box of too many directions. I'm 69 years old. I'm pro carbon neutral, so Jorgen Peterson's off that list. I'm pro women's equality. Jorgen Peterson's off that list. I'm not a manosphere. I love women, but I'm seeing kind men that aren't on social media that are young Gen Zs, but they're the ones that are going off social media, not getting mind hacked by these manospheres and stuff. I'm against that. If I always wanted daughters, and I sure wouldn't want men like Peterson to have any influence on men that are going to hurt them. So I've started studying, getting a certification from Ancient Magic, gives me international. I'm a Reiki Grandmaster. I don't need to hear Dorian Virtue. I don't need to hear skeptics. I know my path. Know yourself. And I had a piano teacher. He was all right. He was playing jazz. I couldn't learn off him. I just decided learn music online. And everybody has a different style of learning. I find a pen and paper, I write things down. I'm finding the benefits of not having a cell phone, a phone everywhere. You know, the multitask devices. I'm considering, if I need getting a phone, but building again, never buying off a cellular company because they lock the phones in. I'm going to Australia. So I found a path. I see life coaching is going to build money I need, and Reiki combined, and EFT. I combined that because a lot of this is emotional charge. So Jorgen Peterson's just tapping all the time because he bugs me. Listen, my foundations are not formally. I'm being a free thinker for a long time because I was a reclusive young man growing up in the country with no family, no parents both working. That was the way it was. They didn't know I was with animals and nature and exploring and being mindful and having these spiritual awakenings coming to me. I don't like high density life. I don't like the social media realm, but I'm not anti technology. I think technology's gone whew, and caused what I'd say a Jungian sick collective of conformities. I think social media has done harm to our hyperinflation. I don't believe in agriculture being selling to the world. I agree with Donald Trump. We should minimize and micromanage markets or resources, sharing knowledge and information. Yeah. I don't agree with Jorgen Peterson at all. I'm zero carbon. But I know where this is coming from, a broken banking system. And I'm tired of arguing with people that are into crypto because I don't like it. I believe it's you trying to get more. And how you frame the picture, what you want in life. I love my piano, but I play the piano because I enjoy it. I play the guitar because I enjoy it. I frame things differently than some of these people on YouTube. They frame it about having girlfriends, and I frame it about enjoying things. I frame happiness as a key to life. So I'm 101 Buddhism. In psychology, a foundation of a rudiment of my life. Being happy. I don't like canned food. I see the externalities, garbage. I need to make a living. They took my money away. That was my family. There's no laws in Canada. So I'm interested in law and order and democracy. Canada's losing it. And I think it's social media. And Jordan Peterson is my enemy. I think he's dark. I listened to Dr. Gabamate, good psychologist, and a PhD in psychology. Good question there. What is that? But positive psychology, positive affirmations, positive ways to make people have a free life. What do we define freedom as? See, we're so bubbled up with no COVID vaccines. I came out in 1955, the day that the vaccine came out. It was for polio. It was a good thing. We know things can go wrong. So somebody hands me a book, the Book of Divine Compensation. I don't believe in winning all the time. I believe in learning from losing and having enough self-forgiveness and not being the tough guy, but being the humble man and learning and listening to your wife and listening to yourself. I'm a man, but I have my own ways. There's a lot of women I wouldn't be with. I just don't like being pushed around. Yeah, that's Bob Dylan's Maggie's Farm. I won't work for a horsewoman. Never will. I have my own ways because I see a lot of the world is traumatized and they get these crazy ideas about animals and people. Anthropomorphic ideology. Another ideology. Animals are not people. They're living. The professor taught me that on a whale research vessel I was on. So I've been a big supporter of Greenpeace and Sierra Club. And Captain Paul Watson of Sea Shepherd. I don't like what's happened in Canada. I don't like temperance. I drink. And I don't have to get into arguments about addiction. I'd say weeds is an addiction. I say a lot of chemicals that doctors give you are addictions. How do we define the addiction? I don't need to run and hide, but I enjoy a few beverages, and I don't like the limits in a restaurant or a bar. I don't cause trouble. So generalized garbage. I drink, and I enjoy it. I used to be an alcoholic. Why? Because it was always about winning in horse racing, and it ruined the sport. Owners don't listen to trainers. The trainers say, let him come into his own. We lost. So what? Sports, look at all the variants in every sport. Hockey players, we lost the game. So what? But putting money before framing things is wrong. Peterson frames things I don't like. He talks about being tough. He talks about being a man. Sometimes it's good to listen to a woman. That's why women are on earth, man. Don't get into this manosphere. I like the idea of a woman listening to her. And I like men to cry and feel things. They're not weak and they're not gay. And this is these things. My father cried once. Because we live a life of illusion. You know, we map out the world like this. We see everything as the way we want to see it. We want to reminisce the past. What was good? Well, you thought World War One was a beautiful comradeship because trauma blocked everything out. I saw him crying because I went to in 1970s. He took me down to Toronto. We went into a house where they were having a reunion for the 20th second expeditionary force that left in 1914. He walked in there. They're not my comrades. He had a vision of something he created with blocking out all that garbage of war. That's the way we cope. So that's why I'm interested in psychology, but I'm sure not interested in anybody that's running down women's rights. We need an equality in this world of a new earth. We need no fossil fuels. We need a renewable system. We don't need Nazis wandering around with placards and killing people. There's so much racism because of Peterson and all these junk prophets on YouTube. Okay? There's good prophets. No one wants. So if I said I'm non-secular, I'm a heathen? Who is the devil? Robert Johnson? We can't decide. We got Dorian Virtue ranting about spiritual, her ways. I don't think I'm evil. My heart's pure. You don't do any dark night of the soul exploration. I use Kunaki Reiki. I don't think I'm evil. I think I'm kind, but I have grounding. Tom Cruise comes out and he says, "Oh, you're nasty." No. If somebody's asking you about your past marriage, you don't have to explain it. That's crossing the line on a man like Tom Cruise. His values are a lot different. Just accept this. And he was with, he's at the Church of Scientology. I've explored Church of Scientology because I'm anti-psychiatry. In a way, I'm against the pharmaceutical. Dr. Abraham Hoffer got buried away with his research. The Cornell Institute, there's all these people debunking them. On plant-based diets and natural agriculture. And I started reading old books, like 10 acres is enough. But the argument is always chemical agriculture is good because we got to feed the world. No, we got to look after ourselves and micromanage our grassroots economy to feed the communities around us and not have all this friggin' box store garbage that's breaking down. We need to lower the price of food. Food is the cornerstone of our life. Our substance, what do we frame everything around? Do we frame it around this more is better? I took some courses that really opened my mind about things. I learned to become a blacksmith. Just wanted to learn the art of blacksmithing. Look at it. You got an anvil, a forge, and a hammer. Do you need all these tools? You're creating your own direction in life. You start in a small garden, you grow a few seeds. You plant a garden, and it grows, and it grows, and grows, and grows, and you expand it. But when we go too far, there's too many crossroads. And YouTube tends to take us everywhere. In the algorithms, I can't get rid of Jorgen Peterson. And Google is getting to the point I hate Reddit and Kahlo. It's all opinions. Good journalism is gone. Everybody's a journalist. My only journalism is life school and a little old school education. But you know something? These women that get into the horse business and are running down other horsemen, I really got to question you, honey. You're just a young woman that's getting arrogant and think you know your horsey ways. I don't like Bob Belford. I don't like him because he was a part of this winning all the time. And when Churchill Downs kicked him out, good. Woodbine's kicking a lot out too. We got to change the racing system. Everything's got to change. It's not about the winning. How many starts does a horse need? How many starts do you need? Do you read Divine Compensation by Marianne Williamson? So you fell. The coverage made people fall. But this is where to recollect. And I'm looking at finishing that academy. I'm getting through it. And I'll have an international therapy license. That'll build me money in my garden. Because I was taken down by listening to people. There's too many voices in the world. Are they right voices for you? You'll know intuitively by being silent and still and limiting the amount of information you're receiving. Now, I really feel repulsive about Jorgen Peterson. I don't want to hear him. In 1970, I quit the church because they were telling a girl her skirt was too short. I became an atheist. That was pushing me too far. So I started listening to other prophets like Dawkins. And I was an atheist, but I'm not an atheist. It was nature and Great Barrier Reef that I heard God's voice. You know, scuba diving. Things do come to you. So I'm deeply spiritual. And I don't see black and white. I see light. And I focus on what's good. I do not want to see Peterson. I do not want to see him. He's a bad example of Western psychology that's got an influence. I see therapists on here, and I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to tell you, you got attachments of ideology in your life experience. I have attachments of life experience that have been dumping the bad. There's a few therapists on here I can't stand. I forget her name. And you listen to them. Who the hell teaches shame? Shame on you for watching porn. Shame on you for touching yourself. Shame. You know, and it's all hogwash, fundamentalized nonsense. The new religion is Western psychology on YouTube. But not all Western psychology is bad. You go to a therapist that's got programs that's going to teach you something, and you do the work. Half of the healthcare system is this. And good doctors and good therapists know this. If you're not going to do the work, go somewhere else. You have to empower yourself. When you do, you feel good about yourself. And happiness is the foundation. Jorgen Peterson says it isn't. I say happiness is number one. So how do you get there? Screwing the other guy, this dog eat dog economy. I don't believe money is that way. I believe money is gainful, and how do you frame things? To have more than the other guy and be the douchebag with the big car, or you have the big car because you like what you own. She said something wise. I have a Bentley. I bought it because it's quality, and I enjoy it. The other one says, I got a Bentley because it gets the chicks. Then the frame's wrong. That's the ego. The ego is this problem in our world. This is a bit of a long video, but the ego is the problem. It blocks love. It blocks consciousness and spirit. It creates duality. My travels across Canada when I was going through hard times because my family deserted me in my hour of need and grief changed my life. I started listening to other people that have lost family members. They need to talk. They need to be listened to. And they don't need deserting. We have to be there for them without judgment. People with trauma have to be able to express their feelings. And if they cry, let them. He was Canadian military. He was going to kill himself. He'd go in the bathroom and he'd have a cry. Now, men don't do that much because they're always a tough up for a while. By a couple of weeks, that crying in the bathroom alone after I was doing Reiki. And this is what I'm going to tell you. Reiki is not me doing the healing. Reiki is the intention of letting the universal life force within him receive what he needs. And if I have to go into the Christ teachings, read where the blind man touches the robes of Jesus Christ. Your faith has made you whole. And you're allowing things because you want to get well. I did a drunk that was, and you don't think this is, listen to this. This is the ego that'll take you down every time. He's going around into a bar in Cape Breton Island. He's got a PhD, he's got a master's degree in computer science. I saw a guy come in and he said that to me. I said, you can shut down IPs. Well, that's what he said. They took him outside and they beat him up, and his eye was hanging out of his head. But he was an alcoholic because he had too much ego and not saying things right. So what is ego? It puts us into separation from everything. We've lost the life focus. So he was an alcoholic. And he says, I want to get sober, but I'll sit down. I did some chair Reiki. And he's yelling at me, are you touching me? No. Well, I don't believe in energy. Yeah, but you're a quantum science. You're working in the quantum reality of a computer. I don't believe in theoretical mathematics. Boy, oh boy, you've lost the foundation of what life is. But he's sitting there. What the hell's, are you touching me? No, my hands are about that far away. I'm doing chair Reiki with my hands that far away. He's had his eye open. Well, what the hell's going on in my head? You asked to get sober. You asked to get well. And the universal life force of energy coming from me as a conductor, that's all I am, a humble man. What do you think we practice precepts for? What do you think we practice principles of Yeshua for? We're not evil people. We're just conductors of what is around us. Qigong, that's an energy that we generate that is already there. The method of Reiki was to enforce the energy and bring it back again. And there's many schools I don't agree with. I don't believe in Reiki connections in Australia. I'm with International Reiki, and all my attunements are being distanced. And I'd say they're good if you have them all together. But I do direct attunements, but what's the sense? If I can do it online and do online healing, I do online healing all the time. And I'm an animal communicator. So I want to get this going and start that. But I've had other interests in economics and how things aren't working and what was good and what's bad. Well, I think social media went bad. I think that's good. That's a flip phone. But, I need GPS, and going to Australia, I'm going to have a phone that has a scan on it. But it can't be a lock phone. It's got to be something I can flip the coins in. So right now I got nothing. I got to fix my budget up. these companies have been sucking me dry. Like, we're out of control. We got no fiscal economic management. We need to lower our Wi-Fi costs, and I've been moving around, and I found one supplier, but I don't want to be paying big bills. I got that. I'll find I might go to an iPhone when they can buy it outright because I got no credit. They didn't pay off debts. And then I thought, that's good. That's good. I got a base budget on seniors pension, but I can build it and keep it in a good reserve, and I'm transferring it to Australia because I don't want to live in Canada because there was no planning. The economics was not planned right. Online education is better for some people, but we don't know how to learn online. Well, my life has been teaching me. Going to college, my time was being alone in the studies, and homework was the foundation of learning. So I had a psychological profile by an industrial company on my type of thing. They said, you could learn anything you want, but you can't learn around people. I'm an empathic sensitive. I like being alone. And then, if we get into the generalized psychology, they'd say you're crazy. No, I like socializing, but I can only take so much of it. If the music's too loud, I don't want to go there. I go somewhere where it's quieter. I go over there, he has beer. It's all, it's not hip hop. I hate hip hop and I hate heavy metal. That's me. I don't like that music, but that's me. It's not you. And you don't have to agree with me. That's freedom. But I just find things are too edgy. I play blues, but I like jazz because it seems to go somewhere. And I like records coming back. So I talked to the Australian School of Business in Adelaide. I can take that online. I was going to take a lot of courses, and psychology is interested in me, but energy healing was being something that's benefited me, and EFT tapping. And there's another school I'm going to take when I finish this up. I'm just building my money. I'm going to take Priority Life Academy. No, Transformational Life Academy. He's got a PhD in psychology, and his stories resonate with my heart. He's a nice man, and it's from the heart I see things. You ever see it? I've listened to this. Some men he said it dry, like Jordan Peterson. Do you see him crying? Wow, the poor men. Well, he's not crying. He's a fake crier. Good crier is a man that gets enthusiastic and starts to weep because he's so charged with happiness and wanting people to get ahead. That's the man that you listen to because that's resonating with your heart. When I see a man that's so charged in a conversation, Napoleon Hill. These were good men in business. Read Napoleon Hill. Read Dale Carnegie. Oh, it's old school. Dale Carnegie sold something that wasn't popular. It was insurance. It wasn't something tangibly seen. It wasn't a material thing. It was the start of this revolution of insurance. If you can sell insurance, he said, you can sell anything. How to influence people in a positive way. I love the psychology of Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill. Most life coach foundations are built on that. Most good entrepreneurs and businessmen learn that. I hear things on here I just disagree with. You say writing notes. When I was in college, I wrote notes. Now, it's the art of note taking. Writing everything down, you're not getting key points. But when you write it down, Napoleon Hill said, write it down. All your ideas, because it's gone. You have to write it down, map it out on paper. That is technology. It's not a computer. Paper's cheap. Write it down. If you want to keep it, scan it through, or write it down on maybe Notion or Skillshare, or Notion or Evernote, or a platform that you can store this in. I'm just using Google programs right now because I'm using Google Chrome because it's cheap. I think I see programs like I'd like to get a Mac again, but I want to buy one. And I've talked to Mac techs, and I think Pages is a good program because they're free. They're with the computer. But write it down and write ideas down. That is creativity. We've gone into a world of non-creativity, very conservative. Is it social media? Is it the people that don't want you to expand your knowledge, get ahead? So is YouTube a good thing? One of my dear friends is so humble. She's a beautiful soul in North Carolina, named Linda J. Solenda. She does liberty work. I mean, you see my hand going to my heart. She's a sensitive, and she teaches she shares all her programs. All her lessons are on Vimeo. I've had a lot of friends leave these platforms because it's so polluted. Joni Mitchell and Neil Young left Spotify for one reason: Jordan Peterson. Do they hate them? No, they just don't want to be in that polluted school. So every time I get an algorithm, I'm looking up something, I'm starting to say, I love psychology. I don't like him. He's a teacher I don't want. I fired my piano teacher. He goes, oh! And he comes back and what the hell happened to you? Well, you're not bothering me. I learned on my own. I started going online. I got technique of how the fingers go and the lowering of the hands, and I got long fingers. There's some things like Audible. I love their books. So I can sit there and listen to Audible books and take notes. I don't think there's anything wrong with grasping ideas on foundational information. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's what I'm saying. There's no foundation in anything. Some of the older knowledge is foundational. I know Crime and Punishment. Dostoevsky's a great Russian classic, but it's also wise about our justice system. It doesn't seem to work. Like some of these stories are thought-provoking and inspirational. I never saw any use for sports, but I do, because it's a camaraderie of men linking ideas together. So how do I get onto a sportsman, his ideas? Here's a guy living in the park. He's so alone. He's going through this 30-year crisis. He can't see where he's going. He wants assisted death because he's homeless, because he can't think. And he said, all I wanted to do was be a baseball player. What resonates with a man like that? I love playing baseball. Play ball. What about children? What about Pee Wee and Little League Baseball? I think you got a good heart. You're just down on your luck. So I mentioned Walter Gretzky. I mentioned the kids lost the Pee Wee team. They lost the game. What did Walter say? He said, kids, he was showing the framework of winning wasn't the thing. And I'm always talking to sports people as a life coach. And I say, well, you focus on the golf course or you playing the players? You're running an equestrian event. You focus on the jump, the course, or are you focusing on the other riders? Music. Are you focusing on being the best, better than those? That's where I think music sucks. I think what you play, I want to hear, and I want to hear you refine it and improve it. That's music. Not trying to be like somebody else. That's plagiarism. We call it cover band. Learning from a foundation, like playing a song and doing a renditional stylization. I love hearing that because that's you coming through. Be the real you. And find yourself, because the freedom is in here, coming out and changing the world. Business and money is not the problem. It's our relationship and the way we frame things. Like I buy things, I want to buy them because they're comfortable. I love pianos. I love having a really nice designed house. I have a vision of some cubic architecture in Australia. I don't like apartments. I don't like them. I like freedom and having a place sort of up in the mountains or on the beach house in Australia. I just like some of the architecture I saw in the 1960s. But at the time, Pierre Elliott Trudeau was on. So I am a fan of Pierre Elliott Trudeau. He was one of my favorite because I was living there in Ottawa when Pierre was alive. And John Lennon admired him. So I don't like hearing saying you're going to pee on Trudeau's grave. He's not the problem. You guys are so angry. And the girls that follow the Doreen Virtue are traumatized women. Okay? They're traumatized women. You can see this. And they're going into a fundamentalism. And she calls them sister. They're traumatized. And something's happened to her. I am a Reiki master, and I'm going to remain it. But I keep learning other things. I learned Qigong. I learned aromatherapy. I do oracle card readings because the world is not cut and dry. I need to have information on a spiritual front. I try many things. I try many forms of Reiki and energy healing and psychology and energetic things. I read the Course in Miracles, and I wouldn't say that's blasphemy, Dorian. I'd say the ego is the blasphemy. And that's what the Course in Miracles says. And that's God's interest coming through. And I know from my travels, hearing the ego in spiritual people. Oh, he's ego. Well, the one judging the ego is the one that's ego. The non-dualistic part of our life is non-ego. Accept things, but you don't have to own them. And that's, I think, what's happened to our world. We want to own everything. And we're told why we should own it, because it might make us better than the other guy. It's a bad frame. Frame the picture, right? Frame the buying something. It's good quality, good intention, but will benefit me. So the ego, like this computer is not up to my specs. It's the Chromebook. I lost it because she stole it. And I haven't given up. I'm going to write a letter, and it's got to be clear. She's got to replace that stuff, and she's given me, she wouldn't help me out, and I'm going to charge her with emotional harm. I'll see if I can do it. There's got to be a way. I keep on studying it. Law in Canada is so friggin' weak now because of Jordan Peterson. And anybody that comes out and their fear-based reality of needing guns is not my kicker. I've been shot at. So things changed me. And that's the way life works. I got shot at driving a taxi, escaping a bad horse racing industry, escaping narcissistic women pulling bits on horses. And every time I hear them running down another horseman, whoa, baby, your ego's coming in. So I don't think they're good horsewomen. They're just secure. I've met a few of them. I don't want to hear them. Please shut up. I know what I like. You run